And my name is Tillie Elvrum, and I am an administrator here on the site. And we're having a little bit of technical issues getting started here this morning or this afternoon, but hopefully you all can see us now and doing okay. Looks like on my phone it's working and we have a live stream, so that is good. So welcome everyone. We're excited to have you here this afternoon to talk about online learning, especially in this climate where we are now seeing more districts across the country announce their reopening plans. And we're also seeing a lot of school districts walking back their in-person or hybrid distance or opening plans and now going virtual. And so we're kind of back to where we were in March, where our kids are going to be at home learning, maybe for 3 weeks in some states. Some are doing it 2 weeks. Some states have announced the entire fall semester is going to be online. And that creates a lot of worries for families. And we did some polling here in the group earlier this week just to see where you all were at in your decision-making process. And the majority of families in this group are either going to use what's provided, the online through their school district, or they're going to be using a full-time online school. And then we have another chunk of parents, they're still waiting on reopening plans to be announced. And then there's another group of parents who are undecided. And so we still want to have these conversations to talk about the differences between the crisis online learning we went through in the spring, and then the differences between what's being rolled out in these school districts. And frankly, I've been watching, looking at reopening plans, and there's not a lot of detail out there on what virtual learning is going to look like provided from these school districts. And they have a lot of work to do as far as communicating that to families. And so I know a lot of families are trying to decide, what are we going to do this fall? And one of those conversations is, would we be better off in a full-time online school than going with what's offered in our school district this fall? And that's why I have a special guest here today. Kimber Podsedek is here, and she is with Destinations Career Academy here in Colorado. And they are kind of a unique online model. We've had many different online schools here over the past couple months, and I really wanted to get Destinations here because they really specialize in career technical education, or what you call career readiness. And I think that's a really important conversation for families, and they need to know about this option because I think it really sets students up for not just academic success, but their future career paths. So welcome, Kimber. We're really glad you're here. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us about your role with Destinations and how long you've been doing this work with families.
Sure. I am Kimber Podsedek, and I have been working in the online schools in Colorado since 2007. So I've been with a few different schools. Right now, I'm operations manager for 3 of them. So enrollment is kind of my thing, records and all that, and we'll get into that later. What makes Destinations unique is it is a career readiness. So I believe we are still the first and only school in Colorado that is CTE certified. So we actually have to have all of our courses looked at to make sure that they also meet the required state requirements. We have all the teachers certified in career readiness. And maybe you don't know what career readiness entails. I'll tell you some of the pathways we have. We have the regular core courses, so we have math, English, science, all of that, but we have some really fun twist with it, I guess. We have education, we have classes for intro to teaching and child development. And I know a lot of the brick and mortars have to take out of those fun electives because of the budget cuts and stuff. So it's kind of fun that we still can offer that stuff. Law and legal, we do careers in criminal justice and forensic science. Believe it or not, online, we can do labs and stuff online. Health science, we do medical terms, pharmaceutical stuff. Last year, their field trip was to go to a morgue and do that experiment. So, you know, they get hands-on, definitely. This year, they're adding an EKG and another course that is really hands-on, right? We're having a nurse assistant. We're going to hire to actually help with a nursing assistant program. They do medical technology. If those aren't a pathway that the students want, we have IT, we have visual design. The cool thing about visual design is we have Photoshop, we have Adobe Design, and then they can take the test and get Microsoft certified. So not only do they take the test, they can get certified. We have agriculture, livestock and poultry, all kinds of fun, different electives. So, and that goes with the pathway. So as soon as they go through certain series of courses, and they can add that to their diploma. They have a diploma for CRE, and then some of them come out with certifications to go into the job force if they don't want to go to college.
I think that's amazing, and I think at this point, we do a disservice to students by not graduating every high school student with some kind of credentialing or certificate, so that no matter what they do, whether it's going on to a 2 or 4 year college or the military, you know, why aren't we graduating these kids with the skills that they could actually go out and support themselves, you know, right out of high school? And so I think it's amazing the work that you all are doing and providing all these pathways to students. But you are an online school, so you know, why are kids choosing, you know, an online school when maybe they could go to, you know, an early college, high school, or something like that in person? What are the reasons why students seek out destinations?
Well, I think it just depends on the kiddo, right? There's a variety, because with our 3 schools, obviously we have a lot of different. I think the thing that appeals with destinations is the career readiness. We have a student that took the business pathway, and she's doing a cupcake business, right? So I think it just appeals to some of those kids that are creative and really, you know, have that creative brain. And I think that's what, at least for me, it wasn't those kind of classes, it was music and band and all that, right? So I think it just appeals to some of those to be career readiness. A lot of people don't want to go to college or think of the cost, or I think that is the draw for destinations. But we don't always have those that want to go through the pathways. We have college bound, that they can do concurrent enrollment, and others just like to do online schooling. We have some kids that are very advanced and they are bored in school, right? And so I think we get a lot of just different folks. And the other thing, I talked to a family the other day about special services. And sometimes they think, oh, we can't do special services because we don't get, you know, the therapist or any of that. And all of our schools offer that as well. So it doesn't just pertain to those that are interested in school. It's those that might need help along the way and actually have extra time on their hands to do their therapy session or their speech session, or, you know, gives them an opportunity. I always think of, you know, when you go to regular brick and mortar, you're an hour on the bus to school, hour to get home, you have homework after. This is a chunk of your time, the kids' time during the day, and then they're done and they can do the extracurricular. And I think it's really appealing if you cut down all the time and all of that.
Yeah, I was looking at the course list and what grade levels do you serve? Is it just high school or?
No, we added middle school last year, and so they are also doing career. So they do a career exploration. They have technical classes for them too. So we have middle school through high school.
I love that. I love that, the middle school students are getting those, the 5 core subjects that we all want them to be proficient in and have exposure to. But then at the middle school level, they're thinking about careers and getting that exposure to different pathways and start thinking about, what they want to do. But I was looking at the different courses, and it made me want to go back to school. Like, I was kind of jealous. There was interior design. There was a Gothic literature class, which, come on, what teenager isn't going to want to take that, right? But yeah, you guys have agribusiness, agri-science, livestock and poultry production. I know that wasn't offered in my local high school. Restaurant management, sports and entertainment marketing, engineering, manufacturing exploration, medical coding, pharmacy tech, health services, digital arts, web design, computer programming, computer science. This really sets kids up for the education and the skills they in demand industries and businesses. So I just, like I said, I was like, sign me up. I would like to take some of those courses now, and to be, a 15-year-old or 17-year-old, and to be able to do that, I think is really exciting for kids. Just to get down to kind of the nitty gritty and some of the questions we get asked most by families who are trying to figure out if a full-time online education is right for their kids. Do you guys provide technology, devices? Do you help with internet for families?
Yes, our schools, Destinations does, we don't, as a regular online school, we don't have lunch program, right? But anybody that goes to that federal program fills out the information on their income and how many households and they qualify, then they get a loaner computer. And then every semester we pay them out like $75 for the whole semester to reimburse them for their internet. So we do give some financial assistance to those that need it.
That's really helpful for families. And, one of the things that I loved as an online parent with the technology piece is that you guys have IT help. And so if you run in and the computer comes to you loaded with, the programs you're going to need, you don't have to figure all that out. You don't have to figure out if your computer is new enough to handle the latest applications and everything. It comes ready for you, so you don't have to figure that out. And then when you do, just technology is great, except when it's not, like today when we were having some problems connecting the Zoom to the Facebook. But whenever we ran into problems, we were able to call a number, and the school had the resources and the experts there to walk you through it, to help. And if something went wrong, if something burn out on the computer or whatever, you send it back and they send you a replacement. And so I appreciated that as a parent. That really took some stress and worry off my plate, because I love technology, but I am not a computer scientist or a technologist. So that was really helpful. Another, concern I think families are thinking about right now is they went through maybe not the best experience with online education in the spring. And that's no fault of the school districts. The world shut down basically in a week. And at the flip of the switch, everybody became a homeschooler, online schooler, remote learner. And that was really difficult. But they didn't have the resources. The teachers did not have the training to do online instruction. And so what kind of professional development do your teachers go through to become online educators?
So we have, when they get hired, they have a slew of classes that they go through. Everything from how to run a live session like this, to the curriculum and how to set it up, how to set the schedules up. I think that's one thing that I've talked to some parents this year. I think the thought of online schooling and having to figure out what to have the kids do, some schools did not even give them that, right? I know my sister was like, I don't know what to do. They don't have the technology for everybody, so they're not making us do anything. Like, ah!
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing, is they are taught how to schedule the kids. So when you log in, it's given to you. You've got it all up on the screen. This is what you need to complete today, and then you're done for the day. So they're trained on doing that. They're live sessions. They're trained obviously on all of the just because we're an online school doesn't mean that we have a kid that will say a naughty word in the session or something. And so they know how to handle that, all the day-to-day stuff that might even happen in an online school. And so they do, I think they probably go through 30 classes, just how to run an online school and environment, and go through the problems of technology and what happens and what they should do and what they should have their kids work on when, the internet doesn't work. So it's a slew of training before they go on live.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point. I was talking to a parent this week, and she asked, what happens when you get a kid that's disruptive in class? And I'm like, well, kids are kids. If they were going to be disruptive in a brick and mortar setting, they're probably going to try it in an online setting, because that's what kids do. They push boundaries. What's wonderful is these teachers have the classroom management skills and the resources to be able to mute a student who might be talkative during class or, acting up. And so they have ways and tools to manage that, which is actually, really nice for kids. I'm the parent of a kid who had very low tolerance for disruptions and kids who weren't as focused as he was on the lessons. And so to be able to have those experiences in class where you don't have all the disruption, the kind of crowd management kinds of things, was very beneficial for the students and for the teacher, I imagine. So that's a great point, and really important for families to understand that our online teachers in these full-time schools, they really are given the tools and resources to develop those unique skill sets that you find in online education. And I hope that our friends in the brick and mortar setting, whether it's public, private, charter schools, that they're getting that professional development right now in this, during this summer break, so that they can be more effective teachers in the online setting going forward.
Let me piggyback. Just because it reminded me of a lot of times we find out, even in a brick and mortar, if a kid is acting out, there's something going on, right? Like they want attention for some reason. And we do have, along with our teachers, we have social workers and we have advisors and we have counselors. So not only do we have the teachers in there teaching and doing all that stuff, if a family needs help, resources, right now, resources are huge because some are losing their jobs and they need internet assistance or whatever. So we have social workers, we have advisors, counselors, all of that extra support staff as well. It's just not the online teaching.
Yeah, that's important. Again, I was having a conversation today, and we were talking about how, yes, our online students, they didn't miss a beat in their education. They were able to make it through these school closures. They didn't have to deal with that. But our kids are not, our families aren't living in isolation. They are feeling pain from this COVID-19 crisis, just like any other family. And I think it's important to know that the schools are there providing resources and support to these families during challenging times as well. And that, I always say, our kids are learning online, but they don't learn in isolation. They're out in their communities as well, and they've lost a lot too. Our students, they have jobs, they're active in their youth groups, they play sports, all of these things that we expect kids to do, and they lost that as well. And I think it's important to highlight that and just know that, but our schools don't leave them there. You guys offer social emotional support and the counseling, and because of the way we learn, our students and teachers have close relationships. I mean, every day as families, we invite our teachers into our home, which is something really special. And I know our experience with our teachers, we were much closer with them over the years than maybe we were with our teachers in the brick and mortar setting. And that was a benefit for families. We have a question here on Facebook Live, and they'd like to dig a little further into what it looks like for middle school students. Now, are they taking specific courses like in agribusiness or health sciences, or are they kind of getting like a taste of everything? What do those special career exploration courses look like for students?
So for our middle schoolers with destinations, they obviously have the math, English, science, all of that. Then they have some electives. They have journalism. They have digital photography. They have, what else do they have? They have a few other ones.
Music and kind
of. Yeah. And then they have, they also, all of them are in a career exploration, and they go through all of the pathways at high school. And this is like the whole year. So they explore all kinds of pathways and what they might want to do. And that wraps around all of our middle schoolers take that course.
Good. Let's see, I'm making sure I don't have any tech issues going on here. So yeah, the kids are getting exposed to lots of different things at the middle school level. What does a typical day look like for a destination student? How much time are they spending in front of the computer? How much time are they spending doing offline activities, reading out of textbooks, those kinds of things?
I would say for our environment, middle school and high school, most of the curriculum is online. There are like for English and science, they're given labs and books to do that kind of work offline. A lot of it is online. So it is recommended about an hour a day in each course. And we're finding that if they're really focused, it doesn't even take an hour to get their assignments done. But that's kind of what we recommend. And they have 4 of the 4 courses and then two electives.
And are they taking live classes with teachers every day, or are they kind of sporadic through the week? What does the live class piece look like?
Sure, they're sporadic during the week. So it might be math on Monday, English on Tuesday. A lot of times the teachers will go over the assignments for the week. And if they show up and do this assignment then they don't have to do it later. So it could be a time saver. They can get extra credit. And that's the best time to get to know the kids in your class, right? That's where the relationships build. It's interesting because you'll have, these people, the kids answering and then others learning from their answers, or, wow, he's smart. Maybe I need to, step it up a little. You just don't know how kids think. I think that way. I'm like, oh, boy, I better just focus a little more. But so it's a little bit of both. They do have live sessions for each course throughout the week.
And are those, say you have a doctor's appointment or, just something going on. I imagine you have high school students who have jobs, that kind of thing. Are lessons recorded where they can go back and watch them if they miss a lesson?
Yes, all of the sessions are recorded. And then if they, or if they're out sick, we have a attendance form that they fill out and they're excused for the day. So we do that as well.
Okay, good. Another issue that has come up with the crisis digital learning that students did in the spring, parents found out like they couldn't access their kids' learning management systems from the schools. And so the parents were having a hard time figuring out, what the kid needed to work on and those kinds of things. What's the parent role in the school, and are they able to track, what their student worked on for the day? Can they send an email directly to the teachers? Those kinds of things. How's that interaction?
Sure. When a kid enrolls in our schools, the parents decide a learning coach. Usually it's the parent, and sometimes it's grandma. Maybe it's the older brother. They name who's going to be the learning coach. The learning coach gets their account. They set it up, and then they set the student up. So they can log in at any time and see what the kid has for the day. Can see where their class, what's overdue, right? So if you have a kid that's not working, if mom is logging in there, she can see that. The other thing that happens in our school too is anytime we have an email system for students, they can't get emails from other students and they can't get from the outside world. But if a teacher sends the email to the student saying, hey, this work is due, you're missing it, or hey, great job, you did excellent in that paper, it actually also CCs the learning coach. So they are getting the communication, same communication as the student is, which is great because we know how teenagers work. They get in there and they delete things so mom and dad can't see.
Yes. And I always say, there was no more gotcha moments with online schools for parents. I mean, how many times have you heard of parents, I thought everything was fine, and then I got to parent-teacher conference and found out, he hadn't been turning in his work, and that doesn't happen in the online setting. I was able every evening to look and see how much work he did he work ahead, did he not finish an assignment, what he turned in, what feedback he got from teachers. And then also to be able to look and see his progress throughout the whole course, to know if he was on track to finish on time or early, or maybe he needed to work, a little longer to make up lessons, those kinds of things. So he had some flexibility, which gets to, are students able to work at their own pace, or are lessons only unlocked, at a certain point? And, do they have flexibility to slow down or work ahead?
They do. Obviously, to work behind, it's hard, right? Because they start putting in zeros. You have to teach them how to be on time, right? You can't, they're gonna, if they don't have to do it right away, they're not gonna do it. At least some kids are, right?
Yeah.
We've got the other ones that are just go-getters. So working behind, the teacher would definitely work with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But tries to keep them on track, because especially in high school, if they don't keep up with the work, they're not going to graduate, and it's so important to keep them. If they want to work ahead, sometimes the course will be locked, but all they have to do is ask the teacher, hey, I'm done with this, can I go on? And they'll unlock it. So
good. That's good to know for families, the flexibility that they need there. You talked about, you have counselors, those kinds of things. Do you serve kids that have IEPs or 504 plans? Are they able to get accommodations in the online setting?
yeah, we have a whole slew of SPED teachers. They get the IEP. They have IEP meetings with the families at the beginning of the year. They look at their existing one. They see what kind of accommodations. When they meet, they might make some more accommodations, and then they share it out with the staff. So it doesn't just stay with that group. It is also shared with that teacher of, the math, English, and science teacher of that kid, so that they can also make the accommodations. And we even go as far as summer school, right? They wanted the summer school kids to also have those accommodations, even if it was for a month. So yeah, we absolutely work with the IEPs and EL and GATE as well.
Awesome. Very good. So if a family is thinking about, they maybe destinations might be the right, you know, obviously we're not doing in-person info sessions right now. Are families able to attend anything online to learn more? How do they kind of learn more about what you all are doing?
Yes, we have online sessions going on. You can find our Facebook page, or we have our webpage at codca.k12.com. Another website that I like to give families is Day in the Life. It's dil.k12.com. You can pick on any grade. So you can pick on a middle schooler. Maybe you're looking at, we don't do elementary, but it has elementary on there too. You can click on there. It'll tell you what a schedule looks like for a kid for the day. And you can also do some of the sample lessons.
Nice. Very good. As a parent, I highly recommend that. If you can go and watch a day in the life video or go to an info session, talk to other parents, talk to teachers. Highly recommend that as you start exploring your options. Another question. What about in-person opportunities, field trips, clubs, activities? Do you offer any of that for students?
Yeah, so Destinations is a little unique because they do have clubs, but it's not like the art club, and it's not those kind of things. They have, they call student clubs, and so they have like FBLA, they have Skills USA. So they do projects and they go to compete. We have also, we have had socials, and we've had online, or we had some events that are in person. I think one of the really cool ones we have done is, we have engineering and drawing. We have a 3D printer in the office. And so part of it is to design something in 3D. And they all came in and do that. So they do projects like that. We usually have from in face-to-face, but however, and graduation is usually face-to-face. But this year we didn't, but we had an online one, and it was great. We sent out party favors and glow sticks and hats, and then we all got online, and we had a DJ, and we played trivia, and so we'd had a little different twist in prom, but we still had it, right? So even if we can't do something in person, especially right now, we do things online, and we get to, be in an environment like this, and right now it's almost the norm, right? We're calling grandma, grandpa like this.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So you can learn how to do all kinds of fun things online.
And I saw as you guys were kind of figuring out what graduation was going to look like and prom, and all the work that you guys put into it to make it as special as you could for these students during this really challenging time, I thought was wonderful. I know you guys care so much about your kids and, the academics, but also that, the social and emotional support that they need right now, especially for those seniors that really they lost so much this past year. And I'm hoping, the class of 2021 has a little bit easier come springtime, and they get some of those important milestones in that they didn't get to experience this year. So if, parents, they check things out, they think, okay, destinations really looks like what we want to do. Let's talk about the enrollment process. What does that look like for families? What questions should parents be asking? What kind of documentation do they need? That kind of thing.
So basically, it's all online. They go on to our portal. They fill out their information, something like you would set it at a regular school, who the legal guardians are, who you want your learning coach to be. They ask questions Like, they will ask income and how many in the household, because that will get the computer. We don't wait for a federal form. We'll do it just by what they put in when they answer those questions. They do ask a slew of questions, but it's just trying to find the right fit for the kid. And it just might be, what language is spoken at the house. And that's for our EL kids that might just need that extra support. They'll ask if they have an IEP so they can ask the other school, right? So they have a slew of questions. It's a lot of questions, but they're very easy, right? So
Sure. And you guys have been doing this for a long time, so you kind of have it down. And that was an important point. So you log on, you start the enrollment process. I think you guys ask for immunization records because we're public schools, so we have to follow laws and statutes set down from our policy makers.
right.
But then you also are thinking about, what was I going to ask? They're registering. How long does it take from that last piece of paperwork gets submitted to you? How long about from that that point to when they receive school supplies? We often online families talk about like August, September as like Christmas, because a big box shows up and there's things for labs and books and
Right.
all these great things that make learning fun. So about how long is that process, that enrollment process?
So it definitely depends on when they come in, right? Like right now, they're not going to get their supplies until I think they start shipping next week. So if they came in April, they're obviously not going to have Christmas in April.
Sure. Yeah.
I think usually it's 24 hours they get a call to verify that they have everything in, kind of go over the norms of the school, and then they, depending on what grade level, like high school will wait for the counselor to call to place them in courses. Middle school, they automatically get assigned their grade level courses. They get to pick their electives, and then once we pick the courses, it will set out the shipment, and that's usually within the next 2 or 3 days.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, it's always fun to get that box of supplies, and your kids get excited when they see everything show up. So that's always a fun time. It's a busy time. I know that interest in full-time online schools has increased because of the COVID-19 crisis. But enrollment is open now. Parents can enroll now.
Yes, and we'll be enrolling, I believe, till the middle of September.
Okay.
So we've got some time.
You have a little time. I encourage parents to don't wait. Do your research now. Don't wait till August 30th to decide. What's Colorado's official start date?
So destination starts August 24th. They usually do the first week, they usually do some introductions, right? And then the classes go full force August 31st. My other two schools start August 31st. So
Okay.
it sounds like a lot of the schools in Colorado are starting then. They're pushed it to the 31st, right?
Yes, so a lot of school districts have announced that they're delaying the start so that they can get teachers up to speed and families can make arrangements, because things are so fluid and plans have changed. Just in it seems like every week there's some new kink in the situation. And so, yeah, things are getting delayed, but I encourage parents, if you really are on the fence, do your research, start having those important conversations with your families now. Another question somebody had, so we're blessed in Colorado. We have 60 plus online options for families, whether it's a multi-district school or a district program or a charter school. We really are blessed. But is destinations available in other states?
Yes, we had not in all of our K12 schools. I believe Oklahoma has it. Kansas, I believe. I'm really not they're growing every day, so I can't even keep up with the list.
Sure,
but yes.
sure. I'm pretty sure
And
Wisconsin
some of our
has
other
it.
schools do
Yeah.
have some of the courses too, right? They might not
Okay.
be a total CRE class, but I know like we have a culinary class, and it goes to all of our schools. So if we're not a CRE, then some of our other schools also have some of those courses.
Well, that's good information to know. So if you don't have a Destinations Academy in your state, but you have K12 schools, some of these courses may be available to your students. So it would probably be worth your while to research that if Destinations isn't available in your state. Check out K12's course catalogs and see if those courses are available for your students. That's an added bonus of having an established provider like K12 in your state. They have the resources and have been able to scale these programs. So right now, enrollment's good in Colorado. There's no grades that are closed to students or anything like that.
Nope, we never cap. So
Good.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. Good to know, because I would hate to send people your way and them not be able to get a spot. Any other words of wisdom or anything else you'd like to share with our families who are doing their research now and trying to figure out what's going on for fall?
I don't have anything. I think the only thing that I think would be comforting, if I was thrown into online learning world last year and might have to go through that online experience this year, our schools do hard for families when they got thrown into that. And even for the teachers, they didn't know how to do online teaching and what Zoom was about. I had some of my friends that are teachers saying, help me, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, okay, come to my room and we'll try it, right? And hopefully also the brick and mortar have been working over the summer to make that a better experience if they go online, so it won't be as serious as before, right?
Yeah, that's our hope for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kimber, for taking the time and talking about Destinations. Like I said, it's one of the models that I'm most excited about. I think anything we can do to prepare our kids for career after high school is worth our investment. And so thank you for everything that you're doing for families. I know this is a super busy time for all of you as enrollment is ramping up, and this is a busier year than ever. So thank you for taking the time to be with our parents. And I will share links in the Facebook feed so that families can know where to go and what to look for Destinations, whether they're in Colorado or another state. So thank you again for being here. This is the Parent Exchange, and next Tuesday, we're going to have kind of an all-out online learning Q&A. If you have a question, join us on the Parent Exchange, and if we don't know the answer, we're going to send you to the right people that do. So we're excited for that. So thank you all for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thank you.